Imagine the city of Rome in flames, temples and homes collapsing amid screams. Who could be behind this nightmare? The very emperor sworn to protect the city, Nero. Imagine an all-powerful ruler setting fire to his own capital. Then, instead of saving it, he blames and tortures a minority for the tragedy. Unreal? This is the real story of Emperor Nero? Brace yourself. His reign is darker than any horror story. Nero's legend is filled with madness and cruelty, but why should you care about what happened nearly 2,000 years ago? Because Nero's story is a chilling reminder that unchecked ambition and power can destroy even the greatest empire. By delving into his life, we learn about the dangers of unchecked ego and cruelty. Believe me, by the end of this video, you'll see why knowing Nero's story can change the way you look at power and history. Nero Claudius Caesar took the throne at age 17. He was born Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus in 37 AD, son of a great-granddaughter of Augustus. His powerful mother Agrippina schemed brilliantly. She married the Emperor Claudius and got him to adopt Nero as his heir. In AD 54, Claudius died suddenly. Some say Agrippina had a hand in that, and Nero was proclaimed emperor, a teenage emperor of Rome. You'd think a boy that young would need guidance. At first, he had wise tutors and advisors who tried to keep him on a decent path. He wrote poetry, he sang, even performed on stage, a king who loved the spotlight. But Rome's upper class hated seeing their ruler act like an entertainer. Nero didn't care. He craved admiration, and he forced the populace to watch him perform, even if they begged to leave. Rhetorical question. Could a boy raised by a master schemer truly handle absolute power? Soon, a clash was coming. Nero's independence grew, and his mother's influence waned. Agrippina had put him there, but the partnership fractured. Nero started to see anyone who contradicted him, even his own mother, as a threat. It was the summer of AD 64. On the night of July 18th, a tiny fire started in the shops at the Circus Maximus. Fueled by dry wooden buildings and strong winds, a massive inferno roared through the city. For 6 days, then another 3 days after a brief lull, Rome burned. Temples, markets, even whole districts went up in smoke. Imagine the horror. Crowds fleeing into the night, people losing everything in the hottest blaze the city had ever seen. Nero was miles away in his villa at Antium when it all began. According to historians, he rushed back and helped, opening his gardens to homeless refugees and bringing food. Yet panic swirled with rumors. Scandalous whispers said Nero had started the fire himself to clear land for a new palace. Was it true? History's unclear, but the damage was real. 10 out of 14 districts were reduced to cinders. Now the emperor needed a scapegoat. Who could be blamed for unleashing hell on earth? A small, mistrusted group, the Christians. Nero pointed fingers at them, making them out to be arsonists. What followed was pure terror. Imagine being snatched from your home just for being part of a strange new faith. Nero's soldiers and guards dragged men and women from their houses, and the atrocities began. Even soldiers balked at how to punish these people, but Nero insisted on shocking displays. The Christians were stripped naked and tied to poles in Nero's gardens. Then they were coated in pitch and set alight as human torches, lighting up the night for his private parties. You heard that right. People screaming as they burned alive just to brighten his garden. Other Christians were crucified upside down in a fate supposedly reserved for criminals to mock them. Wild dogs were set on some victims, tearing them apart in public games. Historians tell us Nero clapped as these horrific spectacles unfolded. This was Rome's greatest city, and its leader turned it into a blood-soaked circus. All the while, Nero began building his golden house, a new colossal palace with gold leaf, a revolving dining room ceiling, and a giant statue of himself. He seized land cleared by the fire and raised taxes to pay for it. Even the temples were raided for valuables. Rome's people watched in horror and disbelief. Their emperor was sacrificing his own people and spending all their money on his cult of personality. This story gets even darker. Agrippina, Nero's mother, had been the mastermind that put him on the throne. But soon, Nero saw her as a rival for power. Agrippina was no weak figure. She had worn the imperial purple and even appeared on coins alongside Nero. Now Nero wanted to rule alone. He plotted to eliminate the one person who truly understood how he got there: his mother. First, Nero tried a sinister trick. He invited Agrippina to a seaside villa with a special boat. He'd secretly built the boat to collapse and sink. Under a calm sea sky, he asked her to board. Then, crash. The boat fell apart and lurched into the waves. But Agrippina proved herself tougher than they thought. She climbed out into the surf, wounded but alive, and swam to shore. Humiliated by the failure of this accident, Nero took a darker turn. He sent assassins to her very villa, and in the dead of night, his own mother was attacked. Stabbed repeatedly, Agrippina died in agony on the marble floors she once walked proudly. Some tales say Nero watched from a secret spot as she was murdered, and even walked over to pet her still warm body after it was done. Imagine it, the emperor caressing his mother's bloody corpse, telling onlookers she'd always been beautiful. Others say he stabbed her himself, ensuring the job was done. Why so brutal? Maybe to show everyone he feared nothing and no one, not even his own flesh and blood. By killing Agrippina, Nero removed the only person who might challenge him. But he also shattered the boundaries of power and horror. If an emperor could murder his mother without remorse, what could he not do? Nero's cruelty didn't end with his mother. Anyone close to him or anyone he felt jealous of could fall victim. His first wife was Octavia, Claudius's daughter. Nero grew bored with her, though the people loved Octavia for her innocence and dignity. In AD 62, he accused her of witchcraft and adultery on flimsy grounds, divorced her on the spot, and sent her away to a lonely island. Soon after, soldiers executed poor Octavia in exile. The people of Rome wept. One of their saints was killed. Next came Poppaea Sabina, a woman renowned for her beauty. Nero claimed he loved her deeply, but love turned to rage. Ancient writers say Nero, drunk with fury, kicked the pregnant Poppaea in the belly during an argument in AD 65. She died in terrible pain on the marble floor, and the unborn child she carried was lost. Witnesses report he laughed as her life drained away. If this story is true, it shows just how lost and savage Nero had become, killing the mother of his own child in a blind fury. After Poppaea's death, Nero did something grotesque. He took a young boy named Sporus, whom he thought looked like Poppaea, and had Sporus castrated. Then Nero married Sporus, parading him in purple and jewels as if he were a wife. This was beyond the pale, even in times of scandal. Nero also turned on the political elite. When a conspiracy led by Piso was uncovered in AD 65, Nero raged against them with deadly force. Many senators and soldiers were executed or forced to commit suicide. His old tutor, the philosopher Seneca, was ordered to slit his own wrists. Even noble Romans learned they could be condemned at a moment's notice, their riches seized. Nero was now worse than a tyrant. He was a monster on the throne, indulging every twisted whim, torturing anyone he fancied, and leaving trails of blood wherever he went. History's darkest tale has its climax. By AD 68, Nero's empire was on the brink. Thousands were homeless and hungry after the fire. The treasury was nearly empty, funding his golden house and endless luxuries. Outside Italy, revolts broke out. Queen Boudica tore up Roman rule in Britain, and unrest sparked in Egypt, Judea, and Gaul. Nero, arrogant and delusional, thought he was untouchable. He declared he could end the Gallic rebellion just by appearing and singing. Instead, things turned against him. One governor after another proclaimed other men emperor. Finally, the Roman Senate turned on him. officially condemning him as an enemy of the state. His own Praetorian Guard, the once loyal palace troops, abandoned the dying emperor looking for protection under a new leader. Realizing it was over, Nero fled from Rome. He cut his hair short so he wouldn't be recognized. He reached a villa outside the city with only a few friends and servants. Terrified, he called for a shovel and had his companions dig a grave in the garden. He planned to lie in it when his enemies arrived. The once great emperor could not even take his own life cleanly. He asked someone else to stab himself first to test if it would work. No one dared. Finally, Nero pleaded with his secretary, Epaphroditos, to help him. At last, on June 9th, AD 68, Nero drove a dagger into his throat. His last reported words were whispered as he gazed at the wounded blade. Qualis artifex perio. Oh, what an artist dies in me. These words are chilling. This was the man who set Rome on fire, the entertainer who killed his mother, his wives, his friends, the mad tyrant who lit human beings aflame for sport. In that moment, Nero wanted to be remembered not as a monster, but as an artist. When Nero's body was found, nobody cheered. The public was divided. Some still loved the memory of their golden boy, but many rejoiced that his reign of terror was over. The Senate erased his name from monuments, but secretly, flowers were left at his tomb. The darkest emperor in Rome's history was gone, and with him, an era of fear. Nero's life reads like a cautionary horror film. It's a brutal lesson on how absolute power can corrupt completely. A teenager made emperor became one of history's most notorious villains. Why should you remember him today? Because Nero's story shows that monsters aren't born that way. Sometimes they're made by unchecked ambition, by unchecked cruelty, by no one stopping them. He burned a civilization's heart and thought he could outsing the flames. He killed anyone, even his own family, who got in his way. Yet in the end, even Nero was hunted down by the empire he betrayed. It's a powerful reminder, even the most powerful leader can crumble under their own horrors. So if this journey through history has given you chills, let it also give perspective. We live in a world where leaders should be held accountable, where justice, not madness, should prevail. Nero's downfall teaches us to question authority and to stay vigilant. If you found Nero's twisted tale as haunting as I did, show some love. Hit that like button, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more unbelievable stories from the past. Next time, we'll dive into another jaw-dropping chapter of history that you won't want to miss. Keep exploring the past with us. You never know what dark secrets you might uncover next.